Nashville-based artist Tony Soboto spent 2 weeks with MBA's visual art students, focusing on the power of play in discovering and refining their yes or personal artistic voice. On this day, he instructed students to use viewfinders to simplify layouts, revealing how a fresh perspective can spark new inspiration. Tony's message was clear. Our creativity and unique expression are our greatest strengths and ultimately shape who we are.
Good to see y'all. So yeah, last time we really got into a bunch of play, free form. Let's see where we can push it when you're making up your own boundaries. Well, this we're going to carry that idea one step forward and create some boundaries and see if we can make some art out of this. So let's see what happens. All right. So to do that, I want to talk about a couple artists real quick, and then we'll get into to some making. So when we're talking about boundaries or simplification, this is one of the kings of that, Ellsworth Kelly. This is him as an older gentleman, and here he is in high school. He was already a pretty confident artist back then, selling his caricatures for a nickel. Feel kind of jealous of whoever was able to snap one of those up. And here's one of his early watercolors. I wanted to use this as an example to say, that's okay, right? Doesn't really blow you away, but he liked to paint. And he wanted to be an artist from an early age. So this is what he could do early on. He had the opportunity to go to Europe for a while and study. If you had that opportunity, what would you do? Maybe some of you have already done something like that. But for him, the question was, what am I going to do here? Why am I here? He decided when he went to Paris to find what was his. What is mine? And that's really what we're doing when we're going to be setting these boundaries today, is what's yours? Let's zoom in on that. So the way he did that was, let's put some colors together. Let's find some interesting color combinations. What colors go together? What's yes? What's no? What about just line and tone? Can we just simplify it to that? This is actually a picture of something. He's trying to represent reflections on water. If you look at it and blur your eyes, you can see that the light-colored rectangles represent that reflection, and the dark represents the river or the water. So he's trying to simplify it down to just the essence of how can we represent reflection in a really simple way. He's making all these notes while he's in Paris of how can I simplify, how can I make it bold? And then this is where he ends up. Let's make a bold shape, let's zoom in on blue and give you the experience of this color. You could say, okay, this is basic, this is just a blue square with some black lines, or is it looking out the subway on a rainy day in Manhattan? Or, what could it be to you? This could be 1,000 things, but he's making some bold statements here. What's a painting of an island look like? Can you just simplify it down to just 2 colors, 2 shapes? Super simple. Again, red and blue, there's tension there. They're battling each other. Let's play that up. Let's put the round edge all the way against the edge of the piece. Create that tension. What about just getting your favorite colors together in a room and get them talking to each other? Kind of reminds me of the NFL campaign for cancer awareness. The Crucial Catch. You'll see this logo on the fields for, I think it's the month of either October or November. They have this logo. Super simple, just colors, the right colors next to each other. I wonder if it was influenced by Ellsworth Kelly. So he went to Paris to find what was his own, and he found it. Simple, bold colors and shapes. So you have this evolution of an artist from, the barn to something super bold and nice. It's like having a clean room or a clean car. It just like feels so good, and it becomes timeless. My friend Rob had a show in Nashville earlier this year where he was doing the same thing. How do you find the colors that are yours? How do you find the shapes that are yours? The way he did it was he did a black squiggly line on a piece of paper, cut it up, rearranged it, and then used a crop sheet like this, and like you guys have, and he found the shapes. His entire gallery show is this one piece of paper where he just moved this around and found paintings in these little windows. Check it out. So you see these shapes, big, bold, these beautiful colors. He found it all just in this little sheet. Super simple, and to just stand there and experience these just felt really great. So what about your sketchbooks? So we all have notes in there. So here's a sketchbook page of mine. Enough on its own. It's okay. It's a thing. But what if you zoom into it and find you just move this around? Are there any paintings in there? Eventually I think, okay, well, can this be a painting? Maybe that can be a painting. So let's try it. So this is a start. Actually, I got a little bit of that dark circle up there. So you start here. What this does is you're not trying to copy the crop, but you're starting with something. You've got this raw material already. So let's do that. And then you get this going and you say, well, I'm going to respond. I want to simplify this. Can I zoom in on this? Can I make this bigger? There's 12 ideas here. How can I get it down to 2 or 3? So that's the idea today. Just like Ellsworth, I decided I had to find something that was mine. So let today be about finding something that's yours and making it yours and simplifying. So here's a page from last week. This was a page of play. So it's fun, right? There are no stakes here. It's just something. But if this were a painting, for my taste, there's just way too much going on. It's like a messy, it's cluttered. So could we find something here? As we zoom in on it, what's going to happen is, just like your crop sheets, you're going to have a bigger window, a couple of smaller ones. As you move it around, you're looking. So I'm looking here. I'm kind of liking this, but then all of a sudden I look over here and see this. Well, that could be interesting. So I keep moving it around. And what about up here? What about just gray and white with a little? Oh, and then I look down here. Well, that's kind of okay. So you'll find that some of this becomes a little unexpected. So for me, I kind of like. What happens if I just do blue? Something like this. So I'm kind of into this. So let's try and see what happens when I take this idea forward. So it's mostly blue, a little white. I'm not trying to copy it, but I'm taking inspiration. I've got another painting from last time that was a sort of a failure, or I had like 90 seconds to work on it, so I didn't get a chance to kind of take it through. So I'm going to use this as an example of, if you get to a point with your painting where you don't like it, just use it as the raw material. Use it as the background for your next piece. So I'm going to start in with that blue. Mix up a nice little blue here. See if we can get that going. And Let's see, when we put this on here, if we can kind of activate this piece a little bit. So we just got that going on. A little bit lighter up there. All right, no big deal. And then it's more kind of gray down here. Actually, I kind of like that black now in some places. So what's that going to be like? So I don't like it everywhere necessarily. But what about if we just have a little black square at the bottom? All right, so we got that. And I do like this sort of red thing running through. So I'm going to take one of these crayons. I'm just going to dig in there. I like that energy. There's a confidence there, and that comes from play. So I don't want to copy that necessarily, but let's just do a nice line. That might be enough. And so it's a start, maybe a little bit up here. So it's a start of something. So you see how this is inspired by this? Do you see that? So let's spend a couple minutes just getting into your sketchbooks and getting those crop sheets that you have and looking at what's interesting to you. How can you zoom in on this? And once you find something that's interesting, let's start going on. You should each have a panel. And you could start going on the panel. I know one class, I don't know if it's Miss Wyke's class or some folks will be out in the hallway. But yeah, just spend a couple minutes cropping in on what you already have. Did you get a chance to do a play page? Before? You were here, right? Okay, is that it? Yeah. Okay, cool. Find something? Yeah. Zigzag, like that. Sometimes when a line goes right through the corner, it just sort of, it's almost like a thud. Think about this compared to that. So what's cool is you like that one? Yeah. Can you make it even simpler? I like that. Look how good this feels. And I think in this game, the simpler the better. You know, I think if you go simple, there's a boldness to that. So don't be afraid to go simple. Already found that. Come on. It's flying. Did you get anything going? What do you like? Yeah. Yeah. Keep in mind, with the bag shape, there's going to be like more energy to it. And then if you did a three bars, there's more stability to it. Or, kind of what Ellsworth did, like something just like, what is it like if they're like three slightly working on this guy? Cool. Cool. Done? Maybe. Yeah. So while you're going along, don't be afraid to say, you know what, I like that more than this, and go with that. So yeah. Ooh, that is a great texture. I will say that's going to be hard to recreate without graphite. and then use the brush to kind of move it around in dark, because that is gorgeous. I would really challenge you to see if you can get something that simple and that monochromatic, because I think there's a real beauty to that. So yeah, great.